Hey everybody, I'm Baelin,
I'm Kok'ro.
And I'm Anansi.
and this is the Gurreck Show. And this week we are talking about The Bad Batch.
Yes.
Yes.
So you've had a couple of weeks at this point to watch The Bad Batch, so hopefully you're caught up. If not, go watch it now. We'll wait. And you're back.
Hi, welcome back.
So let's start with The Bad Batch, Episode 1, Aftermath.
Really good episode.
It felt a little
Fantastic.
long, honestly. I was like,
It
how long is
it
this?
was 72 minutes. I think it was a long episode for
Yeah.
something like Clone Wars or Rebels.
Especially since that's how it started, was with the Clone
There
Wars
was a
voiceover.
lot to get through. There was a lot to cover.
Yeah, it'd been a minute
It had,
since Clone Wars ended, so
but I kind of love how they showed Order 66 from like the clones' point of view.
Mhm.
And like what happened there. That was really fascinating, and I really liked it. And seeing Caleb.
You mean Kanan?
Kanan, my cute little baby Kanan.
With the deep voice and
Yeah, that was a little strange, but
puberty.
hey, puberty
that's
was
fine.
hitting him quick. That's
puberty
all.
was awkward for a Padawan. No, that was I did enjoy. While it was long, there, like you said, there was a lot to get through, and I never felt like, oh God, this is just dragging on. I noticed it felt long for a Clone Wars episode or anything else we've seen so far. But that's the joy of having your own streaming service. Of you can make it how long you want, and we're Star Wars fans. We'll eat it up.
Oh yeah.
It's true. Give it to
Give me
us.
more.
Please.
But it was interesting to see that Order 66 executed in full cartoon glory. And it reminded me, and I forget the name of the novel, unfortunately. It was one of the Legends novels, but there were a couple of clones that, what? No, we can't.
Yeah, they said no.
They said, no, we can't do this. And
we're not gonna do
so
that.
it brought that back for me.
Wasn't it the Republic Commando?
No, not well. It happened in Republic Commando as well, but there was another book in particular, and I'm completely drawing a blank on it. And it's it ends up with one of the clone troopers, Apo, getting by Vader because he didn't want to follow Order 66.
Oops.
And it was a good book. As obviously so fantastic, I can't remember what it was named. But it brought that kind of, the clones could think for themselves a little bit, kind of like Rex did in the end of season 7, where he was resisted as much as he could, but as the Bad Batch puts it, he was a reg.
He's kind of a reg, kind of in that fancy. I mean, he was an ARC trooper, so that put him in a different tier.
He had a little bit more plot armor than the regular clone troopers did.
Oh yeah.
Unlike Cody, who was like, oh, okay.
God damn it, Cody.
He missed on purpose.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
Use the big cannon to shoot the little guy.
You had one job, Cody.
He missed. I still would think it would be interesting to see him post Imperial, or not post Imperial, post Order 66.
Post 66.
Yeah.
And we might get that opportunity.
We might. Yeah, there's no saying.
Yeah.
There's lots of opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
There's definitely lots of opportunities, and that's what I'm enjoying about this era of, I guess it's still technically prequel era, but let's get some more depth into leading into A New Hope. And
Yeah, it's smoothing out more.
It's in the Rebels. It's in the Rebels era, like just pre-Rebels. So.
Yeah.
It's pre-Rebels, even. Like, I think Ezra would have just been born.
Because he was born on that day.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting seeing Caleb's part, because it was in the limited series comic, Kanan, where they covered that part. I think it happened a little bit differently, and they kind of.
I still think they did a really good job with it. It hit, at least for me, on a very big emotional level.
It hit the right notes.
Yeah.
And seeing, especially for Hunter, to the conflict of he's just a kid.
Yeah.
Even though they're these defective, or as Tech put it, deviant clones, he's just a kid. And we see that part of Hunter's dynamic come to the fore later on in the episode with the introduction of a new clone character, Omega.
Oh, Omega. She's gonna be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really curious where she came from.
I
And
have a theory.
what is your theory? I'd love to hear it.
My theory is that because the as referenced in later episodes, I think, is there's 5 of the deviant clones remaining, and Tarkin thought he was talking about the Bad
Those 5.
Batch. It's like, no, there's only
No,
4 of the Bad Batch,
one's a reg.
and one's a Reg. So
A highly modified reg.
Yeah.
I think she is a genetically modified Django clone.
Oh,
Okay.
for sure. Yeah. I mean,
That was my initial thought, but looking at her more, I mean, she's got the New Zealand accent. So that's what that was like. Maybe she is. Maybe this is like kind of Boba Fett's sister. Like, what an interesting concept. But at the same time, I'm looking at, hair, eyes, I'm like,
all easily tweaked by cloners.
But then some of the Bad Batch don't exactly look like Morrison, so there's echoes of it. Not to
oh, for sure.
I think she's
I
definitely
mean, yeah,
tweaked.
it wouldn't be the first time.
And I think her, they were talking about each of the clones has or of the Bad Batch has a special skill. Tech is brilliant. Crosshair is the sharpshooter.
Mhm.
Wrecker lives up to his name. Hunter's got the tracking. It's one of those things. If you watch her, everything she sees, she can do. So she's a
sponge. I kind of thought she's a jack of all trades. She's very quickly ability. Like, she was watching the navigation in the ship. She was watching, Hunter. She was watching even Crosshair. So I do think that she is that sponge.
Yeah,
she's just going to accumulate skills.
And
a specific set of skills
that make me a nightmare for clones like you. But so far,
and calling her Omega kind of indicates she's probably the last.
Well, it is
one that
also
has
an
been
interesting
made so
concept, because with Camino, they're talking about, in the third episode, they're talking about, maybe ending that cycle and going to the more recruited, and what we see is the stormtroopers. They're kind of either taken or they enlist.
Mm-hmm.
So the Caminos are just like, okay, crap, we need to figure our stuff out, because if they think we're useless, they might just end up killing everybody there and getting rid of the entire cloning facility, which I think was also in another book.
And they talk about, but specifically in that scene that you're talking about in the 3rd chapter, when the Prime Minister and Lama Se are talking, and he refers to them as the enhanced clones. So it's that are they actually defective, or was this the Kaminoans having a little fun and let's see what we can do outside of the we've got the million more on the way over here. Let's take a handful over here and play around, and let's enhance some things, and that enhancement led to the Bad Batch.
Yeah, I mean,
almost in
I mean, even the legend stuff, they kind of said there was different tiers. Like the very first batch of clones they had were basically just Django 2.0,
the nulls,
with all his autonomy and all. Yeah, the nulls, the null troopers. And then they kind of started tweaking and making sets, and then like in the Republic Commando books, they started talking about kind of the ones that they like fast tracked even faster, that are kind of like a photocopy of a photocopy of a photocopy.
Yeah, that weren't quite as good.
Technically, they're more defective than anything.
Mm-hmm.
So
when you make a copy of a copy, get that multiplicity vibe of seeing them shave their tongue. Y'all have seen that movie, right?
No, but I know what you're talking about.
Okay, Multiplicity. Watch it. Michael Keaton. It's a fantastic movie. Back to Bad Batch. Yeah, I think I'm very much enjoying the Bad Batch. I want more. To quote my son, he watched it with me today, and he's like, my summation of this is more. Give me more.
More.
And it's filling
Yeah.
that void that we have right now of not enough Star Wars. Because
I didn't think I would like it as much as I do. When they had that last season of the Clone Wars, I'm like, I where they introduced the Bad Batch, I was like, okay, but can we get to Ahsoka? Like that was where my mind was. I was really like bored with a little bit of that end because I wanted to see Ahsoka so much. Now that we have something that's so focused on them, I'm getting to understand the personalities more. I'm more attached to them, and I find myself really liking it and figuring or seeing how they figure out, what are we going to do? Are we going to go into hiding? It was fun to see Saw Gerrera, like, and the beginnings of the rebellion. Like, it just shows like a different side to more things that I wanted to see.
Yeah.
And I would also be, I'm fortunate that I have a relationship with one of the voice actors in this, of Stephen Stanton, who is the voice of Tarkin. And I've since they introduced him in the Clone Wars, several years ago, he's played Tarkin really, really well. But man, has he got hit? Tarkin in this is a grade A-hole.
So
that
he's
just shows you how
on
scary
point.
Tarkin is. Yeah,
And that's
on point.
That's yeah, exactly. But it's even more so than we've ever seen in the past, where even in Rebels, where he was coming in and about ready to land a Star Destroyer on the city to bring them in line, he's just cutthroat in this.
Yeah,
And I
but
love it.
like Thrawn, Tarkin was a major person and he didn't hold punches. We saw him in A New Hope be able to yeah, actually not really control Vader, but
As you wish.
like,
Which we all know means I love you.
yes. But like Tarkin was a big person, and I feel like this shows how much of a badass he is.
Exactly.
And how much of a hand he had in the rise of the Empire.
Yeah.
Kind of that that secret hand behind the power, power behind the throne sort of thing.
Well, you notice
puppet master.
Once Tarkin died, that's when the Empire really started going downhill. Just saying.
Yeah.
The real power was Tarkin.
All along. It was the friends he made along the way.
Yeah, I'm sure that's how Krennic feels.
Yeah.
And Rampart, what I swear it's the same voice actor, and it probably is, that they used for Agent Callus.
He had some
David
Callus
Olawale?
vibes.
Yeah,
for
does.
sure.
Definitely has early Callus vibes. Yeah,
early Callus. Yeah.
And I'm like, Rampart. No, that's Callus. That they missed an opportunity.
That's who I thought that was when he first showed up, and I thought Rampart was like a code name or something.
Yeah, I'm like, it should be, but that would make sense for him to go from now being Admiral to Agent. But we'll see. Not the first time they've used a voice actor for multiple roles, but still, I've heard that initial timbre of his voice. I'm like, ooh, this is going to be good. Oh, so that's probably my only disappointment so far. Is I thought that was a missed opportunity to give us an early Callus where he could live up to his name of being a callous jerk, such as Crosshair becomes in the 3rd episode. That went dark.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I was surprised, like the first chapter when they split up the party, so to speak.
Yeah,
and had him kind of his chip is a little bit more effective on him than on the rest, and you got so used to them being such a tight knit group of brothers, and to suddenly have one of them turn on the others, and they have to wrestle with that now, is that they can't.
I mean, you could definitely see it in episode 1 where he was like, good soldiers follow orders.
Yeah,
like, okay, this is going to be a problem.
Yeah,
and that was a callback to a Clone Wars episode where I think it was Tup who had his chip malfunction or go into effect early, And that was his whole thing, was good soldiers follow orders, and he pops up and takes out a Jedi Master, and everybody's like, what? And
Yeah.
it was a callback to that. So I thought that was a nice touch. And then he kept repeating it. And it's like, you could see he was trying to fight it, but at the same time he couldn't.
That's his mantra. It's going to be interesting to see if they're going to try to adjust his chip in like they did with Rex's.
Yeah.
Cut it out completely.
Yeah.
That would be kind of cool, but I think that needs to be later on. We need to have a season or two of him being just a major a-hole antagonist, chasing around his brothers and the consequences and the conflict.
I think they will keep him as a bad guy at least for a while.
Yeah.
Because of that, there's that emotional pull of, but we were brothers.
Yeah. I mean, to that point, huge props to D. Bradley Baker on taking each one of the batch and making them
distinct.
So distinct. You know, having to deal with the rank and file, the regs, is one thing, but when you've got 5 completely different personalities that sound alike and
being able to
their own person, it's amazing.
That you can tell without watching, you know, oh, that's Hunter. Oh, that's Tech.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's funny when you pull up IMDb, usually on the show, he's the only cast member they show. Usually they show like the whole slew of them. It's D. Bradley Baker, 19
as
roles.
The Bad Batch.
Yep, just everyone.
That's a huge undertaking for one person to be able to handle.
As we were going through it,
stars.
I was like, what if we see these in some series in the future and it's just Morrison, he's playing like just the different, he's gonna film the whole thing himself.
I'd be down. I'd watch it.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, there's still a chance of seeing Daniel Logan playing Boba, because Boba's still a kid.
Bad. I want it. I need it for reasons.
There's a lot of stuff I would love to see them do, live action or animated, either way. But yeah, bringing in Daniel Logan as a young Boba, that could be interesting. I'd love to see a young Boba show up in this. Is like, where is he at this point? Because we know in Clone Wars, I think the last time we saw him in Clone Wars, he got locked in a trunk. And so we're at that gap now
where we're not sure what he's doing.
So has he put on Dad's armor? Has he repainted it yet? Where are we at? And there's a possibility with this to explore that option.
Yeah, angry teenager Boba.
Perfect.
All that stuff that goes along with that. Yeah, I mean, I'd always had a vision of what happened to the clones post Clone War, and kind of having a group of insurgents, you know, rise up, sort of thing. And the Bad Batch fits that perfectly now. So
I am curious to see how Fennec ties in, because we see her in The Mandalorian, which is after all of this. So she has to be decently young at this point in the timeline, because we're like 17, 20 years before A New Hope, right?
Yeah, the Order 66 took place 18 years before the Battle of Yavin.
Yeah, and this is after the Battle of Endor, 5 years post that Fennec finally shows up again and is doing stuff with Boba. So is she doing stuff with Boba like earlier? Is that going to tie in?
He seemed to know her.
Like, he did seem to know her. And I don't think it was just that one case of, hey, I saved you, now we're going to be buds and take over the underworld.
Yeah. There's
it feels like there's more to it.
That's supposing she's human at all. She could be near human.
Who knows?
So
more backstory I want.
Yeah.
Yes, more. More. Give me more.
More.
Put it in your backstory.
Sure thing, Cupcake.
All right.
So yes, need more Bad. So need more Bad Batch. Need more Star Wars. But within the Bad Batch, who's your favorite?
Ooh.
I ain't gonna lie. I love Wrecker. I love Wrecker. The whole, and it was in the second one. I think it was Cut and Run, when he walks in, and so apparently they already know Cut the deserter we got introduced to in the Clone Wars, and
Right.
he walks in, and the kids, Uncle Wrecker, and I'm like, that's my guy.
They were also adorable. I'm a big fan of Twi'lek hybrid children. Thanks to Kanan and Hera. So it was fun to see more.
Just sweet. And he goes from, I haven't blown anything up in days, to kids.
Children!
Yeah.
And I can't lie. Wrecker's my favorite.
I really like Tech. I think it's probably his over analyzing, reprogramming kind of. I'm buried in my computer, and then I'll say something like snarky and dry. I just find it really amusing.
You didn't say anything about a chip. How do you think they pulled it off? Like, duh.
It's obvious.
Yeah.
How else would they do it?
I gotta say, I'm kind of fond of Echo because he's the most pragmatic and grounded of the group, even though he's been through a bunch of crap. I mean, he just has a different perspective from them. Kind of,
Echo has the interesting case of being a part of the Bad Batch without actually being a Bad Batch, so you kind of get both worlds situation.
Yeah. Well, and if you think, we've seen Echo go from being, one of the worst recruits when he first got introduced, to then being on the little moon, the relay station, the Rishi station, and then becoming an ARC trooper and part of the 501st. And then he's one of those clones, if you think about it, we've had him through several series or several seasons of the Clone Wars that we got to just watch him evolve. And so we do have an attachment. He's a long-term character.
Yeah.
As opposed to some of the others that are, like Jesse, who appeared in season 7 of the Clone Wars, and we have him for like 4 episodes. Oh, Jesse's my favorite. But we see Echo evolve throughout the Clone Wars, and then seeing him here where he's finally made peace with his past, for lack of a better term, of what he's been through.
Yeah, he's a very seasoned. He's come into himself after losing himself for a while, and he's come out better for it. And he's comfortable in his skin and titanium parts. And there's just something the way he looks at the world around him that just seems, and he's not overly optimistic, but
and he's just as ready to mix it up as the others, as evidenced in the food fight.
Yep.
I think that was one of my favorite scenes.
There's nothing like a good food fight or bar scene.
It was very necessary, I think. But it also shows some of the regs and how they look. It's like, where you have Rex, where we're all brothers, I don't care, they're all my brothers, to a lot of the other regs look down on some of the other troopers, and it's like,
imagine being looked down on because you're different.
What's that feel like?
You got to wonder if that wasn't, I mean, everything that goes with the clones, you've got to wonder if it was programmed or
Could
whatever.
Be.
They're
like, you're different, therefore you belong, because we're clones and we should all be the same and equal.
Yeah, because for a while, I mean, everybody had their own cult. Everybody's getting their own names and designing their armor a different way. And probably at some point, it was like, pump the brakes. There's a little too much of that.
That's why we had to go to stormtroopers.
Yeah, and go back to numbers.
Because if they choose to be numbers and choose to be no one, they'll stay no one.
Yeah, I did like one of the other things. It was a little sidebar in it, but was the introduction of the chain code, and where which we got introduced to in the Mandalorian. It's like, never heard of this before, and it's like Filoni is like, oh yeah, you know what? We might want to figure out how that came to be a thing. And so it's basically the Galactic Empire's version of a social security number.
Yeah. And,
it tracks you, because if you know how a social security number breaks down, there is all kinds of information in those digits. And it's Galactic Social SSI. So you can get benefits later when you retire.
If you make it that long.
Yeah. Unless you're looking for retirement in all the wrong places.
Boo.
Oh, come on. Someone had to make the joke. Let it be me.
Yeah, you blew it up, dude.
Boo.
High five. Meanwhile, we've just lost 4 subscribers.
Bye, guys. It's been nice knowing you.
Gained 2 weird ones.
But that's why we're here, is to have fun and explore Star Wars through.
We've been isolated for so long. We take any option to be funny.
Yes, even if they're, not
to our detriment.
Well baked.
Yeah,
we're bad. I'm sorry.
You are.
We're our own bad batch.
Heaven help us.
So
nope.
back to topic. Where can they go? We talked about there's a wealth of opportunities here. We know we're gonna see something happen with Crosshair. We're gonna see. Well, I'm hoping we'll see the evolution from Admiral to Moff and Grand Moff for Tarkin. But what? And the Kaminoans and their deviousness, they're obviously hiding something.
Yeah, I mean, clearly they're hiding something because they allowed the batch to leave with Omega. And they're already talking about making even more deviant clones from what they have already.
And so we need one of them we only need one.
But it would be good to have more. I feel like there's more to Omega. There's definitely something missing there that they're not telling us that we're gonna find out. Like, she might be Jango Fett. She might be somebody else completely.
That could very well be.
So or a mix. And it would just be interesting to see.
It could tie into the whole Palpatine clone thing.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Testing out whether they can clone somebody with a force sensitivity or whether it's inbred into a single person sort of thing.
Conceivably, that's why they needed Baby Yoda, like Grogu, and they needed that force ability in the midichlorians or whatever they decided to use, but they needed a force user to be able to make something else that was a force user.
All sorts of possibilities. I'm also curious about, I don't know if it's necessarily going to be anything yet, but in the final, or in episode 3, you've got Wrecker keeps doing this, and that specifically that side of the head is where the inhibitor
that's where the chip is. And I'm worried.
Did when he hit his head during the crash, did the chip start working?
See, that's what I thought he was talking about, and I'm like, holy crap, we need to get chips out of everybody like now.
And I'm wondering if that's going to be something we see continue, is him constantly trying. If we start hearing Wrecker, good soldiers follow orders. Oh, hell no.
Well, I mean, Tech is already working on equipment to scan it, and they're presumably going to run into Rex at some point, who has experience with that.
Rex, because he's been mentioned.
They're probably all going to have a nice scar on the side of their heads, which will ruin Hunter's beautiful mullet. It'll just ruin it.
His flowing Rambo locks.
Yeah.
Rambo.
Now this is something. Seeing, we saw Cut. We see all the different clones. If they're all clones, how come they all have different hairlines? I mean, come on. I mean, Cup's got widow peaks worse than I do, and then Hunter has. I'm Fabio.
I mean,
was that something they did as part of their, that you're from this batch, you're from this batch, you're from Mullet Squad, you're
Squad,
you're from,
no sleeves on your armor.
You're gonna
take them
look
off.
like Rambo,
take off the sleeves.
and you're going to look like Predator.
Was that a thing that they did? We need to be able to differentiate them on sight. So you're going to be, like I said, Mullet Squad. You're going to be Stubble.
Why does my turbo tank have T-tops?
Because why not?
No sleeves, T-tops, and a mullet.
I was missing a cowboy hat.
No cowboy hat.
No, come on now.
But it's got to be a band. There's a band printed on the armor. Iron Maiden. No.
All right, boys, we're going in.
Now that guy's getting thrown out of the lap, guaranteed.
We don't serve your kind in here. Out.
We are not right, but it's fun. So I want to see what they do with Wrecker. I want to see what they're going to do. How are they going to resolve the conflict with Crosshair? Are we going to see more of the just how evil the Empire can be. I mean,
Yes.
they took out some civilians with a flamethrower at point blank range.
Yeah.
Man, that was so dark. But that's like, whoa, okay, the Empire is not throwing punches, and this is what we like. That's truth. That's what they were.
Yeah.
That's why they were scary, guys.
And the people that were serving the Republic suddenly are just that. Holy crap. I mean, you had the one guy that was, the Republic never did anything for me. And then he's the voice of reason.
Mm-hmm.
And that didn't last long for him, did it?
No. Because good soldiers follow orders.
Yes. And he apparently was not a good soldier. And
no.
And the other three are just like,
okay.
Toast them.
That actually happens more often than you.
Oh, I'm very aware. It's unfortunately a common thing of I don't want to be the next one that gets taken out, so I'll take them out and I'll play along.
I would like to see how Rex, Gregor, and Wolf become bros on a on a desert planet.
Desert planet.
Just chilling out on an ATT, fishing, and growing old together.
That would be interesting to see.
I feel like we will see Rex. I feel like he's such a pivotal part in like everything when it comes to Clone Warriors that would be a logical step for me.
Well, he was in the trailer, so
okay, that's cool.
Yeah, there was a scene where they're like standing and looking over a vista, and there's a blonde fellow with a comma pointing out the way.
Missed that. I'll have to go rewatch that. I'd definitely want to see Rex, and I want to see, because the Bad Batch, as they are portrayed so far in 3 episodes, they're prime rebel material.
Mm-hmm.
Why do we never see them again? Now, granted, it's because they weren't created before this, but
hey,
don't you?
Do they find retirement? Do they find retirement?
They were able to sneak in Rex.
No.
Into the Battle of Endor and explain that.
Do not make this a Rogue One situation.
I'll buy it.
No.
I'll buy it because I want to.
No, don't tell me there's a baked-in tragic end to these guys.
No. And I also want to see if
they went off and hung out with Cut.
Nobody ever dies in Anansi. Everybody lives forever.
Don't.
It's like G.I. Joe, they all ejected.
Yeah.
I also want to see if they'll play around with, they did a little bit in some of the Legends novels, the accelerated growth. Will they continue to age at an accelerated rate? Because you have to remember, at this point in time, they're all technically 13 years old. They won't, from the time the first batches were grown to...
Yeah, Boba was the only special case that we know.
He was no growth acceleration.
Yeah.
So is Omega, does she have growth acceleration, or is she a full, because she's referred to as then an experiment? So are they going to play with the growth acceleration and the age acceleration? Are we going to see them start getting, like, we see Rex is a little older than you would think he would be in Rebels, but again, age acceleration. Are they going to play with that some more?
Is there a point in the clones where the aging stops, because you don't want them to your soldiers to get too old too quick, right?
Yeah. But I mean, you look at Gregor, Wolf, and Rex in Clone Wars. Again, that's right before, or in Rebels, sorry, that's right before A New Hope, which, as I said, was 18 years after Order 66. They're 13, so they're not even in their 40s, and they're gray-haired and looking old. So I want to see that get played with a little bit more.
Yeah,
that's just me.
Another tragedy. Nope. Not gonna do it. They'll live forever.
I can't take.
I want to see Record with the ZZ Top beard, man.
They're going to a farm. It'll be fine.
It's just gonna be a moisture farm.
It'll be a beautiful farm where they have plenty of room to play. And just...
See, I think they moved to Endor, and they're living on the far side when all this stuff goes down in Return of the Jedi. And they're like, "What the hell?
Get off my lawn!"
We don't see that they're the ones that come in kind of like at the beginning of the first episode and they wipe out a whole battalion. It wasn't the Ewoks, it's the Bad Batch going
that
through there.
Scene was so glorious.
Who do you think taught them?
They're just gonna be mentors to the Ewoks. Show them guerrilla
I
warfare.
want that. I want that series now.
Works for the Green Berets.
I want that series. The Bad Batch teaching the Ewoks with Crosshair reformed.
Yes, I do think that the end game is to get Crosshair back into the batch. I feel like that's a big thing emotionally.
And how will he deal with what he's done?
It won't be pretty.
No.
It won't be pretty. If anything about this show is it's not pulling punches, and I appreciate that.
No.
They're going straight for the guts and the feels of we're gonna tug at your emotions and we're gonna make you go, oh wow, you went there.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Anybody craving barbecue? Because they're not afraid to give it to you.
Yeah.
Even how ruthless they are on their own. Like that guy was like, no, we're not gonna do civilians. It's like, okay, gotta shoot you.
You know why I'm in charge? Ooh, that's why you in charge.
Good soldiers follow orders.
Yeah, it's frightening.
Yep.
But we saw a little bit of that conflict when they walked into the former Bad Batch barracks, and he kind of looked around, and you could see it in his eyes. He's like, "This hurts."
Also, speaking of not exactly barracks, but their ship, they're like, "Oh, we need to make Omega a room." Like, what about Crosshairs? He's got a bed somewhere, right?
They're not going to do that.
They're just like, no, we'll keep it.
Yeah, they're not going to replace him. No,
not replacing him, but it would give her somewhere to be. But she seems perfectly happy in her like little gunner area.
Yeah,
it's her own
that
room.
Was cute.
Yeah, who else gets a cannon in their room?
No one.
I'm jealous.
I'd like a cannon in my room.
Don't we all?
We'll just have to build one.
Yeah.
Bigger.
No, I'll get in trouble. I can't do it.
No.
Darn.
Put it in the garage.
Good. It's where everything else goes.
There you go.
Oh.
So I think we have a lot more feels to come from the Bad Batch. And we'll see more as we discuss more as the Bad Batch continues to evolve.
Can't wait.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to come back to this in like 3 or 4 more episodes and like, see, that's what I was talking about, or that completely blew my mind. Like revisit it. I think we should do.
It sounds like a fantastic episode.
Yeah.
Bad Batch Part D.
It's a big fat deuce.
No. Phrasing.
Phrasing.
That just stinks.
Sorry.
All right. I think that covers the Bad Batch for this go round.
Should we talk about Merc work real quick?
We should talk about Merc work.
So let's bring up not just Merc work, but the good Merc work.
The good Merc work. All right, everybody. So this week we're going to be talking about the Magic Wheelchair. We've actually worked with them once or twice up here, right?
We've done some fundraising for them. So,
yep.
For those that don't know, please tell them about the Magic Wheelchair.
I was just about to. So, Magic Wheelchair's mission is to create the unforgettable for children worldwide by transforming their wheelchairs and mobility devices into something magical. The organization actually started in 2008 when Ryan the Dude Weimer built his son a pirate ship for his Halloween costume. So that's actually pretty awesome. Since then, they've managed to build hundreds of wheelchair mobility costumes for children, including fighter jets, monster trucks, chariots, and even the Millennium Falcon. They've done actually quite a few Star Wars costumes, and they are amazing. The chairs are all built by an army of skilled volunteers. Each costume is a labor of love and a feat of engineering as they custom build these to fit that child's unique wheelchair or mobility device. And because they're an all-volunteer force for good, they need help. If you'd like to build something magical, head over to magicwheelchair.org/donate or /volunteers. You can also check out the gallery and see all the amazing costumes they made as well. That's magicwheelchair.org. And that's this week's Good Merc Work.
Awesome stuff.
Back to you.
All right. Well, I think that pretty much covers it for this week. So unless y'all got something else random to throw out there.
I just want to give love to Gurreck Clan and to the Mandalorian Mercs as always.
We miss you a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Can't wait to troop again.
Absolutely. And to touch on that, you know, the world is slowly getting back to what normal used to be. And we're hopeful.
Music?
No, I hit my microphone.
Oh.
Now I can't do it again.
Oh, it's working.
Yeah, stop it.
Sorry. We'll edit all that part out. No, he won't. He's going to leave it in there and make me look stupid.
Yep.
Anyway, you know, the world's slowly getting back to normal. People are getting vaccinated. People are wearing their masks like they should. It's finally seeking in that if we wear these masks and we do the social distance thing, we can eliminate this and get back to being together again. But we can only do that by being apart first. And so things are happening. We're seeing states starting to reopen. We're seeing the economy reopening, and we're seeing the opportunities to get together again slowly start to coalesce and happen. And just everybody stay the course. We're almost there. We're closer than we've been in over a year.
Mm-hmm.
And if we can keep up with the way vaccination rates are going now, by the time summer rolls around, we can get back to doing what we do. And I look forward to getting back to what we do, and that's doing the good Merc work. You know, raising money for charity, seeing my family, seeing my brothers and my sisters in the Mercs and the 501st and the Rebel Legion and the Saber Guild and Droid Builders and the Dark Empire. I was getting there. You have to give me a moment.
Everyone.
There's so many of you I look forward to being able to troop with again and donning the armor again in person. But we're not there yet. We're almost there. So hang tight. We're this close. We're this close.
Shot 2 on Tuesday.
One and done.
Nice.
All my midichlorians.
I've had mine for a few months now. Medical worker. Yeah, but my whole household is now fully vaxxed. It's kind of exciting.
Nice. You know, I'm vaccinated. My son gets his second shot on Wednesday. My youngest is not eligible. He's 1 year short of being the new cutoff. My wife gets vaccinated. She's eligible to get vaccinated next month.
Nice.
So we're
getting there, people. We're getting there.
Yep. My Vertica gets hers on Thursday.
Nice.
Woo-hoo.
So do your part. Get your vaccine. Wear your mask. Social distance.
Vax max.
Don't be dumb. And let's get back together.
Yeah.
And on that note, I'm Baelin.
I'm Kok'ro.
And I'm Anansi.
And this was the Gurreck Show.
Bye.